Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to a general discussion about stuttering with our guest, Olga Bednarski, who's actually a frequent guest. We've had her on a few times, and it's always an enlightening educational experience. A bit about Olga. She promotes an alternative holistic method um, of sorry, trying to minimize in here, and or method of overcoming speech anxiety via working with the mindset and changing your relationships with the self, other people, and the world. The process involves self-exploration and can produce a profound therapeutic effect, helping individuals to overcome speech anxiety as well as many other emotional issues. Olga's method is not a magic pill. However, it requires self-discipline, dedication, and most importantly, a genuine desire to change. And just a few words before we start, about my own experiences with Olga's work. I feel whenever I speak to her, I feel more fluent for the next few days. I don't know what happens, but I feel really good, and it's got a really nice energy. And I think what she says about relationships with yourself and others, that's the key, because you can learn as many techniques as you want, but they always break apart under pressure. And you struggle to use, well, I can talk about myself. I struggle to use techniques under pressure. But if I feel whole inside, happy inside, and I feel that my relationships with others are healthy, speech comes easier. So this is why I'm very excited, honored to have Olga. Now it's just a small group. They've got Peter and John here, so there's no set topic. I suggest that um, we ask Olga just to speak for a couple of minutes, and then we can just fire questions at her. Is that okay, Olga?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's over to you.
I haven't prepared anything, to be honest, today. It's just a spontaneous meeting.
Mm.
What I'd like to say is that stuttering can be solved quite easily, but I see the major issue is that people tend to complicate. We have been conditioned to complicate a lot of stuff in life in general. And because people don't believe it can be simple, they start to complicate, they get tangled up, and they basically delay their own progress and their own freedom. And I know there are many hyper rational scientists out there, and they're pretty loud and proud. But my experience shows, and this is not just my experience, that life is simple, and problems such as stuttering, it can be solved pretty easily. But on the condition that you open up to this new information and let go of this desire, of this compulsion to complicate stuff. Because I work with people who stutter, and they tell me all sorts of, techniques that they tried, very expensive, very complicated techniques and all that. But they didn't work for them somehow. And I understand that everything that they've tried, it was very scientific, very complex, and it still didn't work for them. So what I'm trying to promote here is that, it's time to return to simplicity. Because our world is complicated enough. And if we, just try to experiment with simple things first before going into complexity, because it's very easy to get confused and all that stuff. But what if you try simple things first? And when I ask people, have you tried simple things? They say, no. I say, why not? Oh, it sounds too simple. And then, they go into these complications, they spend lots of money for all those tools and techniques and pills and all that stuff. I say, please don't complicate. Try the easy stuff first. If it doesn't work for you, then you can move on to complexity. But don't ignore simple stuff. And also what I notice, this applies to many conditions, not just stuttering. People focus on disease. They discuss disease all the time. Oh, this disease and that disease, and and these are the symptoms that I got, and those are the symptoms that I got, and this is what happens, that is what happens. They talk about disease, and you manifest in life, the things to which you pay your attention. If you constantly think about disease, if you constantly discuss disease, then all you're going to get is more disease in your life and more problems. And the same I see in stuttering communities, lots of discussion, how to beat stuttering, how to control it. Give me magic pills. I want to try this. Oh, I hate my stutter. I hate people because they judge my stutter, blah, blah, blah. All these discussions. But why don't you talk about health? And confidence and fluency and fluidity and all those good feelings, all that good stuff. No, 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 no. We talk about stuttering and how hard it is to live with a stutter. So I say, let's discuss health instead of discussing disease. If that's what you want, then you need to discuss health. If you don't want disease, then discuss health. How can we become more loving? How can we become happier? How can we build a healthy relationship with ourselves, with people, with the world? No, 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 no. We don't. They don't discuss this. They discuss disease. They discuss society. Let's blame it all on society. Let's blame it all on parents. Oh, this is to blame. That is to blame. No, no, no. This is just not going to help. That's what I'm trying to say here. If you want health, if you want to recover, from any condition that is out there, maybe try discussing health instead of discussing disease. And these concepts that I teach, they are very, very simple. But no, people, this is too suspicious. It's too simple. Let's complicate. I say no, try simple things first before you move on to complexity. But usually people that understand, something happens to them and they just get it and then they flow and life is good. And then they say, oh, I was focusing on stuttering all this many years, and now I just go to work and I'm so happy and I'm so fluid and I'm so fluent. I enjoy conversations. It's so easy. How I didn't know this before? It's so easy. They just full of joy. You see this change and you're like, okay, wow. So yeah, I'm just I'm just so happy to see people that, just get it, like, and everything changes for them. It's so nice to see. And I say, there are so many people out there, they need to know this stuff because it is simple. Yeah, but yeah, of course, it's unconventional. It's too simple, too suspicious. So anything else you'd like to ask me? Because I'm just talking
No, no,
spontaneously.
that was good. So Olga, what it is, right? Yeah, I was used, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a while here as well, and
Okay.
maybe give you a tough time, just so we can understand your method and help people. Now,
Yeah.
now I read somewhere that on some stuttering group that all roads lead to stuttering. Okay. So no matter what we do, we always come back to stuttering. Now it's like people have this thermometer or a gauge where they're preset to stuttering. So, for example, if you set your room temperature to a certain temperature, um, if you open the window, the temperature goes down, but when you close the window, the temperature comes back to that spot. Or if you turn the heating up. Anyway, so say someone who has a stutter and they focus on fluency. Okay, no, I'm fluent. I'm definitely fluent. And then they are at a function or an event and they have a lot of stutters. And then that would make them feel pretty bad because they're trying to think fluency, but their brain and mind and body doesn't cooperate. It says, no, you've got a stutter. And on the other hand, if they accept that all roads lead to stuttering, I stutter, I'm a proud stutterer, or there's nothing wrong with speech stuttering fluency. When they do stutter, they would perhaps not feel as bad. What would what would be your thoughts on that?
All roads lead to stuttering. Well, my thoughts on that is this is actually one of the major problems why stuttering is so difficult to dissolve, because people see nothing but stuttering and speech-related issues. What I suggest, look beyond stuttering. Ignore your speech, ignore your blocks, ignore all this speech-related stuff. Look what's happening beyond everything that relates to your speech. And stuttering actually begins before you open your mouth to speak. People unconsciously create stuttering blocks before they even open their mouth or before they even enter speaking situations. For example, let's say you learn that tomorrow or next week you have a presentation coming up. You have to do a presentation. What's the first thought that enters your mind? If you stutter, if you have a speech anxiety, you go, oh my God, how am I going to manage? I have a presentation. Who is going to be there in the audience? Oh my, what if my boss comes to and will listen to how I speak? Oh my goodness, it's scary. I'm not going to manage. I will block, they will laugh, they will judge, they will point their fingers. Oh my God, I give up. I can't do it. People get scared before speaking situation. So this is where you need to begin. It has nothing to do with speaking, and it has everything to do with the mindset. So how do you relate to the situation that tomorrow, next week, you have a presentation coming up? Would it be possible to change your attitude, your reaction to that, instead of saying, oh my God, I'm going to blog, they will laugh, blah, 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 blah. Is there anything alternative that you could say to yourself? And, all those fears and anxieties, they come from the mindset. So it's your beliefs, your ideas. And another person can say, oh, presentation, no big deal. That's nothing. Oh, I'll have fun. Let's just have fun. There's nothing to it. So there's no reaction. Why there is no reaction? Because there are different beliefs inside of the mind. There are different stories, there are different ideas. So it all begins with how you think and how you relate to that situation. So, for me, everything goes back to the mindset. It has nothing to do with speaking, but it has everything to do with how you think and how you relate to yourself, to people, to situations, and to the world in general. And let's say, for example, you're trying to lose your weight. Let's say that you are, big and fat and you want to lose weight. And people try different things. They exercise and they take different pills and mm, and all sorts of stuff they do. But somehow it doesn't work. What's the problem once again? Is it to do with pills, with exercising, or dieting? Not really. It all comes down to how they think about themselves. Once again, it's not a problem of weight, or like people say, oh, I have big bones. It has nothing to do with big bones. But it has everything to do with the mindset. So your relationship with yourself, with other people, and with the world in general. And once you change that, people suddenly, they slim down. They say, I do no dieting at all. I take no pills. I'm so nice and, slim and sexy. How does it work? How do you do it? I say, but how do you feel about yourself now? Oh, I'm much more happier now. I say, well, there you go. This is all to do with your relationship with yourself. It has nothing to do, with your big bones, or it has nothing to do with speech. When you improve, it only says that there is something changed in your mind, in your perceptions of yourself, other people, and the world. So, for me, everything comes to the mindset, always. It always comes back to the mindset, always. Nothing to do with speech. Everything is mindset. And actually, most problems that people have, they are emotional problems. And emotional problem, it's the problem of the mindset. It has nothing to do, with big bones or anything like that, or speech. It's the mindset. It's your relationship with yourself. This is where it all starts. Your relationship with yourself. This is where we need to begin. And everything else, it will just it will take care of itself, and everything will just come into place. And another example I can give is people that have financial issues, money problems. And I have learned that money problems actually have nothing to do with money or lack of money or anything like that. It's, once again, it's an emotional problem. It's not a problem of lack of money. Like some people say, oh, there is not enough money in the world, blah, 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 all this, big discussions going on. I say, but what's your relationship with money like? What's your relationship with yourself and people like? Let's have a look at that. Oh, no, money, my country is so poor, blah, 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 not enough money in the world. I say, okay, let's stop there. Let's have a look at what's your relationship with money like? What's your relationship with yourself and people like? And it's the same thing applies. It's the mindset. And when they change the mindset, do some work here and there, suddenly they see, oh, there is so many opportunities. I can make money here and there. Wow, I'm so rich. Once again, everything goes back to the mindset. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with speech, and it has nothing to do with big bones. It all comes down to the mindset every time, every time. So yeah, that's why I say I can solve many problems. Well, I don't solve anything, but I help people to solve some issues by making them see certain things in here. This is where it all begins. It's not a speech problem, not money problem, no big bones problem. There are no such problem as big bones. there is a problem here.
Um, that was a very good answer. I completely agree with everything. Um, and I think you've 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 approached the heart of the problem because you know if whenever I'm in a room by myself or whenever I'm speaking to a cat, I'm
Yeah,
fine because I have a healthy view. I'm not looking for the cat's approval. I don't worry whether the cat likes me or not. Well, I don't have all that, and I'm not afraid of being criticized or judged by the cat. So I'm
sure.
totally fine.
Oh,
But when I'm with another person
yeah.
somewhere or the boss or someone else, I'm looking for the person's approval. Therefore, I start to block and stutter.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
so that makes a lot of sense, and I think you've answered my question very well. So all roads do not necessarily lead to stuttering if you have a healthy self view of yourself, and I think of relationships as you mentioned with other people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
If you don't think of yourself as lesser than people, then there's no stuttering actually.
No.
So
Yeah, I just add to this. I often read comments in groups, and I also work with people who stutter, and very often they say this thing. They say, I feel useless. I'm so useless in this world. I'm so pathetic. I'm so useless. Well, I say this is where it all starts. If you spin this kind of thoughts in your head all the time for many, many years, this is, I mean, it's not healthy. And this is what creates your unhealthy relationship with yourself. This is what needs to be treated, not speech. This is what needs to be treated. And, we can change that. We can change that belief. And also, when you go into a meeting with other person and there is no cat to talk to, it's a person. And if you're afraid of being judged, what I suggest is before you actually go into that meeting, um, just forgive yourself for how it might go, because people who started, they are too focused on the result. They want to be perfect all the time. So, and all this perfection, it creates lots of stress, lots of stress and tension, and it's not going to help your speech, that's for sure. If you tense and when you're stressed, it's not a good combination. So before you actually go into that meeting, you need to forgive yourself. It doesn't matter how it goes. It goes how it goes. But you always know that you will always forgive yourself. No matter what, you will always be your best friend. Always. And it needs to be sincere, and it needs to be honest. So, before you go next time, just say to yourself, okay, doesn't matter how it goes. I always forgive myself. Always. It doesn't matter what they say or don't say. It all just doesn't matter. It's all just nonsense. I'm always my friend, and I will always be on my side. I will always forgive myself. Doesn't matter how it goes. And this helps you to kind of loosen up, and emotionally you feel kind of more at peace and more present. Say, okay, I'll just do my best, and that's it. I don't care. And it just works so much magic. I always say to people, wow, this is very simple. No need to complicate. It's so simple. And they say, wow, I had this meeting, I never started. I'm like, yay, yay. That's it. So just use simple techniques. Don't go into complications. We have been conditioned to complicate. I say no, return to simplicity. This is where all the answers to all your big existential questions are. in simplicity, because life is very simple, and it actually took me many years to come to this, because before my life was extremely complicated. It was just like hell. So I talk from experience of many years, and I always look for the answers. I never stop until I actually find it. So yeah. Forgive. Before you go, forgive. Say it doesn't matter. And see what happens. Yeah, I mean, don't believe me. Experiment. See for yourself. And be honest and be sincere with you, because we all need to learn to be our best friends to ourselves. This is where it all starts. It all starts with you, first of all, with you and your relationship with yourself. And then it's other people, situations, and so on and so forth. But it all starts right here in the middle, here and in your heart. Yeah.
And I would also add, you mentioned that people, when they are fluent, they get happy, and so I was fluent. Um, and perhaps a suggestion would be not to get happy when you're fluent,
No.
and not to get sad when you stutter, because
That's also a good point. Because actually when you get too happy about something, wow, it kind of, signals that you don't have it really. That it's this special occasion, today. It's a special occasion. So I say, okay, just take it as normal. This is your new norm. Don't get too wow. Yeah, just yeah. That's what I also do. I say, okay, so this is your new norm. Just accept it as this. But they get so proud always. But then, yeah, then we go a bit, okay. So you see, you can do it. Yes, you see. Yes, I can do it. So now you need to get used to it and just, say to yourself, this is my new norm. I can speak. I know I can speak. And that's my new reality. So yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
um, could I ask
Yeah.
either John or Peter if they have any comments or any question for Olga or whatever?
Yes. Yes. I have a question to Olga. Olga, I agree with everything you are saying. Um, I'm especially interested in the mindset and
Mm.
so what is the best mindset for us to to to
Mm.
be more fluent? Um, would you agree that an expressive mindset is helpful? And I'm saying this because I found that your body language is very expressive. I mean,
Mm.
you use your face and your hands and your body and your smiling and moving your head, you know, as part of your presentation to the world. And I myself have found body language extremely important in in speaking well and speaking fluently. So would you agree that that is an important part of of speaking well, to 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 express yourself, to transfer your ideas and your emotion over to your listeners, and to be fully yourself, to to communicate, to really communicate, and not be inhibited.
Yes. Yeah, let's just go back to the point that stuttering is a fear of being yourself. What I do here when I use my hands and my body language and I smile. I do everything the opposite. So people who stutter, they are afraid of being themselves. And what they do is they suppress. Everything is suppressed. No emotions, no body language. They're like mummies. They don't move much, because they get anxious or afraid or even maybe panicked sometimes in certain situations. And when people feel fear, they freeze. This is a natural response. When we are afraid, we freeze. We go, we freeze. That's normal. That's normal response. But when you feel comfortable with being who you are, and when you're not afraid to to speak up and to express yourself, your body language will change. It just it will switch, and it happens naturally because you feel comfortable. There is no anxiety. And I remember myself 13 years ago when I first joined Liverpool Speakers Club. I was like a mummy. I couldn't move. I was so rigid. I was so rigid, and everything was so suppressed. And my voice was very mousy. I was so quiet. I don't know what was going on with me, but I was so closed off. Like, please don't beat me. I'm just a little girl. Don't abuse me, please. It's just me, a little girl. I'm just trying to speak here. So yes, I was extreme. I was like in a different place mentally and emotionally. So once you make some changes to your mindset, what happens is that yes, your body language will become more open. And as your body language becomes more open and as your mindset changes, your heart opens up as well. Because when people are scared of being judged, when they're closed off, everything is closed and everything is suppressed. And the opposite of this is to open up and to soften up. This is what I also teach. Because people who start, they're rigid. They're rigid, no emotions, everything is suppressed, rigid body language. I say, what if just for a second you imagine to be soft and fluffy, like a cloud or like a pillow, or like my little napkin here, just soft, instead of being tense and rigid, which is not going to help you flow. It's not going to help you speak well. What if you just give yourself permission to soften up inside, and just a little bit open up your heart a little bit more? And they say, but I feel naked. I feel so exposed. I feel so vulnerable. I say, yes, you will feel vulnerable. You will feel afraid because, this is what you're doing maybe for the first time in your life. And it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be nervous. That's fine. When you make your first little steps, it's absolutely fine. But as you open up a bit more and a bit more every time and a bit more, and you see that the world is not so dangerous after all, and people are not that bad, actually, they're not that bad, everything, suddenly just begins to change, and they open up, and then, they like flow, and it's like, oh my God, I go so fast. Now everything happening so fast. Why I didn't do it before? And it's like, I say, just take it easy. You are learning, to ride your, I don't know, let's say you're learning to ride, some kind of a car, like a Lamborghini, for the first time. It's so exciting. It's, so fast. I say, okay, you start to you start to feel it and you start to taste it. You can do it. Yes, you can do it, but just go a bit slow. Don't go not too fast. You need to learn how to drive that emotional state. You need to learn to drive it a bit more. And then, you know, they open up. And then, yeah, this is how it, oh, yeah, I hope I answered the question. I talked too much.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's an emotional state. When you flow, it's an emotion there, it's a feeling there. When you block, once again, there is a feeling, there is an emotion. This is how it goes. But all emotions, they come from your thoughts, your ideas, your beliefs, your perceptions, your attitudes. So this is, once again, we're coming back to the mindset. It all begins in your mind. It's not them or there, or it's all here. Yeah, so yeah.
I just like to add, Peter mentioned expressiveness and assertiveness, and I wonder if you would agree that, like, there's stored trauma in our body, and assertiveness, expressiveness, and really feeling the emotions. And this is coming back to TMS, feeling the emotions, accepting them, and releasing them. And you said that your body language becomes more open, because when trauma is released, there's more relaxation, less tension. And this perhaps contradicts traditional therapy, traditional theatre therapy. Yeah, where you're focused not on the mind, not on your self-worth, your relationship with people, kindness, self-love, but you're focused on just the effect, not the cause, but the effect. You're just focused on the symptoms. You're focused on how to pronounce words, and you spend hours learning or practicing words, which actually can add more tension. Because if you keep practicing words, you're sending a signal to your mind that something is wrong, and can create the emotional tension and close you off. I mean, would you have any comments on that or any thoughts?
Yes. Trauma, yes, it plays a big part in speech anxiety for sure. And it all comes from childhood. In my case, it all started at the age of 12 or 13. So it was pretty late. But it all started because, they scared the shit out of me in school. I became very sensitive at that age, and that place where I was growing up, it was absolutely toxic. I was absolutely terrified every single day. I had to go to school. I was absolutely like that. So I was terrified every single day in that place. This is how it all began for me. So to unlock this, the idea of the idea of how you can restore your fluency, your confidence, is to feel safe. It's important to learn to feel safe, to be who you are. And the key also to speech that is not blocked in any way, it's the comfort. And it's an emotional comfort. This is what you need to achieve in order to unlock or restore your natural fluency that is there. There is nothing you need to learn, how to talk, because some people ask me, can you give me some techniques? Can you teach me how to speak? I say, I don't teach how to speak, because you do know how to talk. I don't need to teach you how to talk. What is my job is to help people to feel safe and the comfort, emotional comfort, and this is where it all begins, to open up, and they feel safe. And yes, and once again, to feel comfort and to feel safe, it all goes back to the mindset. We need to do some work here and there, so they can feel comfort. and safety. Otherwise, if I just give them, okay, let's do big breaths. It's just control. Once again, coming back to speech, focusing on speech. And the more you focus on speech, the more you will struggle, the more you will think about it, or how not to stutter, all that stuff. So coming back to speech again, coming back to stuttering. I say, don't go to stuttering, don't forget about speech, go back to your mindset. If you experience any blocking or turbulence in your speech, just remind yourself in that instant, if I experience turbulence, it has nothing to do with my speech, but it has everything to do with how I feel about myself, about people, about the situation and the world. This is like a mantra that I use with my students. That's what I say, and they always say, okay, when I have turbulence, nothing to do with speech, it's all to do with my relationship with myself, other people, situation, and the world. And it immediately, okay, we go back to the mindset. Forget the speech. Mindset. Always, check the mindset. How do you perceive the situation? How do you feel about yourself? So, yeah.
I agree with everything that you've said. Nothing to do with speech, because we know how to talk. Our brain parasympathetic system knows how to talk. It's everything to do with how we feel about ourselves, the world, relationships, etc. Just I think I need to share this story. So I've had a tough week. I had 2 full days of training with 100 people, and people were talking fast, and I had to listen a lot, introduce myself to people. I had a name badge, but still, then I felt pressured. And I feel the more I try to be fluent, the more I stutter. And that always happens. And no amount of techniques will work in a situation. Um, then so I had full day of training on Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday night, I had to take a train to go to a function. Where they were professionals and there was food and drink, etc. So I went there, and and there was loud music and loud people who had to talk loudly, and I found it difficult to function, talk. Um, so on the way back, I went on the train, and I was looking for a particular train seat which had a socket which I could put in my phone charger, so that I could message my wife and ask her to pick me up. And on the train, there's only one seat at the back of the train which has what's called a socket, and unfortunately the seat was occupied by a young lady. And I said to her, is it okay if I can plug in my charger, just so I can charge my phone? And she said, well, why don't we swap seats? You can sit here. She was nice to me. So I sat there, plugged in my charger, was able to message my wife. And then as we were approaching the last stop, I wanted to thank her because she did something nice for me. I wanted to thank her. I looked over at her, and she looked at me, and I couldn't get any word out. And I thought, okay, what technique do I use, or what do I do? And then I just said to her, I said, listen, I've had a tough week. I'm exhausted. I have a stammer, and I just find it so hard. I'm finding it so hard to even talk. What I want to say to you is, I want to say thank you for letting me sit here. And then it was fine, because what happened was I related to her as a human being to human being, very authentically. This is how I feel. I want to thank you, but I'm exhausted, and I can't talk. And I felt a very genuine warmth from her. So I think what helped me, the only thing that helped me in that situation was being present in that moment and being authentic and telling her what I was feeling. So I think that kind of ties in with your relationship with the world. You don't hide. I didn't hide who I was. I didn't hide what I felt. I didn't mask my stuttering. I didn't do any fluency work, but everything I wanted to say came out authentically. So I just wanted to share that story. I don't know if you have any comments on what happened.
Very good story. Yeah, that's actually yeah, I can say that why people create all this tension in their speech, because speech is a way of expressing yourself. And most people who stutter, I guess 99%, what happens is that there is something they are not willing to feel. There is something they're afraid of feeling, maybe, what if I get rejected? What if they laugh? What if they say no? And this, once again, this happens before speaking situation, before we actually open our mouth to speak. So the way to counteract this is to just acknowledge, okay, what am I feeling now? Am I trying to be like a macho here? I want to impress. I want to be a macho. But actually, I don't feel that confident. Maybe I'm not such a good macho. So just accept that you're vulnerable. Just accept that, people might say no, okay, but nobody's going to die because they say no. But because we're so afraid of rejection, we start to suppress the, oh my God, I'm afraid of rejection. Oh, it's painful. Suppress, suppress, suppress. What if before you speak to that lady or in any situation, just like you did, what if you just accept, okay, I might get a no, I might get a yes. And if she says no, the world is not going to end. I'm still me. I'm okay. It's not because I'm bad or there's something wrong with me. I might get a no, or if I avoid the situation, I might actually get a yes. So it's also about being open to accept the feedback from the world. And when people think, oh, they reject, they will laugh, they will judge, blah, 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 they don't want to accept, the feedback, and they start to hold back and hold back a bit more and hold back a bit more. And actually, many men, they escape. That's what I see. They run away. I ask, why did you run away? Oh, it was, the prospect of being rejected, felt too bad. I couldn't bring myself to speak to that lady because it was just too uncomfortable for me. So he runs away. I say, what if you do exactly the opposite? And before the situation, you accept the fact that, okay, she might say no, and the world is not going to end. It's not because you are bad. It's just maybe, she's in a different place right now. And be open to whatever feedback you receive from the world. But people always want to be good. They always want to be, oh, you're a good boy or a good girl. I say, have no expectations. Receive any feedback openly. And I had to train myself this type of thing, because when I started talking about stuttering and how I overcame it and all that stuff, I had lots of negative feedback. Lots of negative feedback. All these meetings, with this man, and it's just me and all those men, asking me questions. I received lots of, kind of a bad publicity, you can say. And now I just learned to say to myself, okay, whatever feedback I receive, I'm willing to accept it. It doesn't make me a bad person. But why should I be quiet about my ideas? Because I actually, before, I was terrified of speaking up. I was terrified because what if I'm right? What if I'm right and they and there will be, a competition and egos, they begin, to compete. Who is first? That kind of game begins. Who is first? She is first. No, we can't let her. I had all that stuff, like with some other groups, and I got a lesson from that. I said to myself, there is no point to be afraid. When you go, just be willing to accept whatever feedback they give you. They're not going to burn you anyway, because this is not allowed anymore. They can't burn you these days, so just be yourself. That's the most important one. Just be yourself and speak up, and make sure that your voice can sing as loud as you choose to. But I had to learn it. I mean, I had lots of lessons, and I'm grateful. Now I say thank you, to those guys. They gave me massive lessons, huge lessons. I felt bad about it before, but then actually I flipped it and I say to them, well, thank you. I bow. And I'm grateful, because now I have been burned so many times that they can't burn me anymore, because I'm willing to accept whatever feedback that comes. And that's what I recommend people to do in any situation. Doesn't matter how big or small. Just go there and say to yourself, I'm willing to accept any feedback, from the world, from people, or that girl that I want to date, or whatever situation it might be. Be open to the feedback, and people, they are close to the feedback. And this is where holding back begins. And the essence of speech anxiety is holding back. And anxiety comes from, what if they reject? What if they say no? What if they don't like me? Just accept, okay, they don't like me. Fine, fine. I like myself. That's enough. That's enough for me. And then there is no perfectionism anymore. I don't expect any perfectionism, because I've already been through all these lessons. And yeah, this is, once again, all these situations, they help me to do what? They help me to change my mind, my mindset. It's all to do with mindset, once again. And before, yeah, I was terrified. I was very quiet about it. I said to myself, you don't dare to speak up, because what if, there is competition out there? What if they will do this and this and this stuff to you? So better be quiet about this. But then I said to myself, no, I mean, they can't burn you, so that's okay. If they believe me, or like if they resonate with me, good stuff. If they don't, I respect their opinion, and just because they think differently, I'm not going to change my view on things. Maybe they're just not ready yet, just yet. But this is all coming, that way anyway. And our world is changing. People are looking for the answers now. This is the time where we all are looking for the answers, to the big questions. Once again, it's not about stuttering, because it's just a small problem. But the big questions out there, and people are looking for the answers. And this is how it all begins. Yeah, but I try to keep quiet, but it's just, something is pushing me to speak up, lady, speak up. So that's what I do pretty much.
What I would add is, like, for me personally, there's memories of stuttering and blocking in school. And every time someone saw me stutter or block, there's always a laughter. Like, remember in school, and I couldn't read aloud, I couldn't move onto a word, and there was whispers of he can't read, he doesn't know how to read, that kind of thing, and then there was laughter, etc. But but you know what what I've been trying to do on this path of authenticity is to actually not be afraid to stutter or blink in public because I was so scared. Um, and you know, someone asks me my name, and I feel I'm gonna stutter on this, and I just say it anyway. And if it comes out very turbulent, it's okay. Um, so so what I was gonna say was, I've been going to situations, for example, when I walk into an office, I'm at the front desk and I'm asking for a certain person or any directions, and I've decided I'm going to just feel whatever comes, accept whatever happens. And on a few occasions, I'm in a reception of an office with receptionists, two receptionists, a security guard, and maybe two people walking, and I'm asking for information, and
Mm.
and even before I speak, I feel I feel that I am about to cry, and then I just let it happen, and all of a sudden standing in this office in tears, and I don't know where all this is coming from, and everyone is just so sympathetic. I mean, it's not like school; it's totally different. So 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 I don't know where I'm heading with this, but yeah, I've had that so many times. I feel emotional, and emotions are coming up. Um, and then yeah, so it's yeah, I'm feeling emotional just now, so I'll just stop.
That's good to feel. We're humans. We can feel. We should. We must actually. That's okay to
No,
feel.
Yeah,
it's part of TMS. It's the whole mind body thing, and I believe that much of our emotions are repressed, and sometimes they just come come to the surface, and I think that is what has happened in your case.
Yeah, and I would like to ask you a question. Who is crying? Who was crying? What is your view? Who
me,
was crying?
me, or
You
my inner
as
child.
a, as an adult or you as a child?
I don't know. I think it was my inner child. It was my.
Yeah, in a child.
uh,
How old was that boy?
I don't remember. Maybe when I was at school or something.
Oh, just whatever you feel. How old do you think he?
10, 10,
10, 10,
9,
10 year
10
old
years
you.
old. Yeah,
So he was crying. It means he wants to express something so badly that he cries.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
So badly he wants to speak up and express. And then there is this shame and fear and guilt come up. And if I say it, then they will laugh and whisper about me. Yeah, and this is what you feel. So this is the inner child work, which I also incorporate in my work, because I combine different methods, because I know I mean, yeah, we are all children inside still. Doesn't matter how old. That's another reason why I say that all of us need to absolutely learn to love ourselves unconditionally, because by loving yourself you love your inner child, and when he feels love and support, he's no longer afraid, or she. And when your inner child is not afraid anymore, you begin to feel safe as an adult in this world. When you feel safe and comfortable, this is when things begin to change. So once again, it's coming back to everything to do with mind, how you feel about yourself. And yeah, so yeah, there are many elements in this work, but once again, everything is coming back to how you feel about yourself. And self-love is one of the major things in helping people to overcome their speech anxiety. And I very like that you say it's okay to stutter, because this is kind of a new idea, because usually people terrified of stuttering. What if I block? Oh my God, what's going to happen? It's like, the end of the world. When you say to yourself this new idea, it's okay to stutter, there is nothing bad about it, immediately everything changes. This is a mindset once again, and it's okay even if you block, or if you stumble. You say to yourself something different. Instead of saying, oh my God, I must not stutter ever, I must be perfect, you say it's okay. So immediately, there's this relief. But what I say is that we can go further than that. This is a good step. It's okay to stutter, no problem. I don't have to be perfect. This is a very good start, but you can go further than that. And the more further you go, it becomes much more interesting, because you learn about yourself a lot. There is a great deal, there are lots of blind spots, as I call them. There are many things that we don't know about ourselves, and it doesn't matter how old you are. I'm learning every day. I mean, it's accelerating for me, but I learn every single day. I have so many situations happening every single day, something new. I'm like, okay, I just trust and go with the flow. I stay in the present moment. I don't plan. I have no expectations. And I trust. This is the biggest one for me. I trust. Before there was control, expectations. I was very rigid and controlling, and there was a huge lack of self-love and self-understanding. Yeah, but once this changed, everything begins to change. But I'm going, this is not about stuttering for me anymore. It's about some other stuff that I'm exploring. Yeah, but problem of stuttering is like this little tiny thing that is, we can just do like that, and it goes. It's not, the whole persona. It's just a part of people who have this problem, but it's just a small part of it. But when you think about it too much, you make it big. You feed it with your attention, and it gets big. Many think that it's all about speech. It's all I want in life is to become fluent. When I become fluent, then I will be the happiest person in the world. I say, well, actually, you might surprise yourself. Once you achieve your fluency, you will find another problems to worry about. That's for sure. So fluency is not guarantee of happiness. There is so much more.
What I would add is that I read somewhere that the human mind naturally thinks negative thoughts. Yet the natural inclination is to worry, and there's an evolutionary biological reason for that, because human beings who are wary, afraid, except they survived because they anticipate dangers. Human beings who are carefree, unafraid, they usually die. They usually were eaten by
Yes.
animals and whatever. So the human, and I feel in my own life, not stuttering, but in my own life, I worry a lot about things, actually. I worry about what this goes wrong. I always think of the worst. And I think that's maybe to protect my family. And I always worry. But then when it transpires that my worry was baseless, everything is fine, I start looking for the next thing. What and sometimes when I'm sitting relaxed, happy, I get worried that there's nothing to worry about. I'm afraid there's nothing to fear. So I start to find things I've got to fear. And I think that's maybe part of being human, part of, well, human being male, that you have to protect your family, you have to protect your tribe. So that's that is a national worry anyways. Yes.
Yeah, it's the response from many thousands of years probably, that we always afraid. It's a protection, basically. It's a protection from many thousand years ago. But our life has changed, so there are no lions that are going to eat you anymore for sure. So do you really need to hold on to that response? I actually say that we are in this world to learn to be happy and to accept it as the norm. And very often I see from my work and, well, from my personal experience in the past, that happiness, it's kind of, to feel joy and be happy. It's kind of like this idea that it's not good to feel joy and be happy, because it's kind of, you are not responsible person if you are like that. You're not very responsible. How can you be joyous all the time? You need to get serious now. You need to stress out, because this is life is serious. I say, well, actually, it's the other way around. We are here to learn to be happy, because happiness and joy is the closeness, to the source, if you like to put it this way. When we're stressed out and when we live in fear, we cut ourselves off. We have no power. And this world has been here for many thousands of years, or maybe even millions. And the system in which we live, it wants people to be afraid, because when you are terrified, you're afraid, when you're anxious, you can be easily manipulated. When you're full of joy and happiness and you understand how this world works and how your mind works, you become free. That is, they cannot control you anymore. That's why, fear is it's still here, but the idea is to learn to be happy and accept it as the norm. But we think, when I'm stressed, when I'm anxious, this is the norm. I say no. The norm is different, is exactly the opposite. And when you're joyous, when you're happy, you still do all the stuff that you do, but with a different feeling and a different intention. And the results are different as well. When you're stressed out, the results not that good, to be honest. It's like you have to force yourself every time, but I must do it. I must do it. But I don't want so badly, but I must. But just for a moment, just imagine you can be joyous and you can be happy every single day, and you still do all the stuff that you do, but with a different feeling and a different intention. Just imagine how much energy you can actually save and how much better you can do in your job. It's a different quality of life and of this experience every single day. And you will see that they will respond completely differently. They will say, wow, what a fantastic work you produced. Completely different reaction. Yeah, so we have a lot to think about. So it's not just about speech, because it's just a small part of the story, but there are some, bigger existential questions coming into this conversation as well.
Sorry to interrupt, but I need to say goodbye. It's already a bit past my time. I have to attend another event. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
you.
very, very, very much, Olga.
Yes.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Alsan. It was an excellent event. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. I'll have
Thank
to
you.
go as well, if you don't mind. I'll have to go as well. Okay, thank you very much. That's very
Bye.
interesting.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jason. Bye-bye.
It's
Bye-bye.
just two of us. Bye. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, John.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank
That was lovely. That was great.
Bye, John.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Bye, John.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so
yeah.
just two of us.
Yes, that. Yeah, I think we can. We were over an hour. I think we can.
Yeah. It's a nice to
Yeah.
share.
Yes, it was. Do you have any closing comments, Olga?
Any closing comments? Don't complicate. Don't read too much on the internet. If you do look for information on how to overcome speech anxiety, my advice is to choose 2 or 3 simple tools and stick to them. Don't read thousands of books, try different kinds of therapies, because you will be overwhelmed and you'll get tired and it's not fun. And when it's not fun, you will drop. You will say nothing is working. I'm hopeless. I'm useless. Not a good way to go. So choose the simple tools and just stick to them. Don't complicate, please, because things are much easier than most people suspect. And another thing is that you can overcome your speech anxiety. It's maybe the only exception, I would say, it's people with severe cognitive difficulties or some mechanical injuries, to their brain. These are the only exceptions. And everything else, if you can speak fluently with, to your dog, to your cat on your own, then absolutely you're capable of unlocking your voice. It's not just about fluency, it's about unlocking your self-expression, being yourself, and returning to your authenticity. So yeah.
Okay, well, that was really good, and thank you for coming on to this call, and
You're very welcome.
and giving us your valuable time. It's much appreciated.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. I'm happy to share.
I'm just going to end the recording now, and if you can say